You don't need anyone's approval. It is important to give yourself permission to change and grow and kind of move past some of these initial limits. So becoming more you does not require anyone's approval. Okay? No one's approval is needed. None. None. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, that's the point. No one's approval is needed for you to be more you. So I'm early in the process of becoming who I want to be, not who someone else wants me to be, but who I want to be. And I guess I'm just sharing a little bit of my journey, a little bit where I'm at. So I have some notes over here. And I want to talk about fear, self-doubt, and the environment that you're in. So when it comes to fear, making a big change and going after your dreams and what you want to be, there's fear. And it might come from you, but it also might come from people that care about you. But you have to be careful because people will project their fears onto you and your life. And you might not even have those fears. But, when they get done instilling all that fear, then you don't want to do what you want to do. So we'll come back to that one. And then self-doubt, it can definitely creep into the picture at times, but we'll come back to that one too. And the environment, oh my goodness, this is one that people do not talk about enough. Your environment. And it might not even be a bad environment, but what you're surrounded by definitely has a big impact on how you feel on a day-to-day basis. It is important to give yourself permission to change and grow and kind of move past some of these initial limits. So something I've noticed is if you dream of a bigger life for yourself than what you have now, or just bigger, like whatever that means for you, sometimes either people in your circle or even yourself, you might think, or they might think it's too much. But I'm definitely someone who feels like if you can dream it, you can do it. If you can imagine it, you can do it. If you have a vision, you see it, you can do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that's how I live my life. When you're sitting somewhere unhappy or unsatisfied or whatever you might be, you're the one who has to sit there and live through that. Everyone who I'll say has fear for you, they all have their own lives that they live on a daily basis. So it's really important to keep that in perspective, how you feel on a day-to-day basis about your own life, because you only get one. I don't know, sometimes people forget. YOLO! I'm probably cut that out. You really have to check that you haven't kind of been taught or conditioned to shrink yourself in order to survive, I think everyone has their survival skills about them. Everyone has their coping mechanisms. Everybody, has to navigate through life one way or another, but you have to check that. You have to check that you're not shrinking your own self down, because as far as supporters go, you're always going to be your own number one supporter. So if it starts with you shrinking yourself down, then everyone else is going to come along and shrink you down or whatever. So when you want a bigger life or a different life than what you have, you really have to reflect upon your internal beliefs, whatever that might be, for success or happiness, or it could be beauty, it could be finances, it could be anything, or even where you want to move. But you have to make sure that your internalized beliefs aren't, against what you're trying to do. Like, for example, if you want a really big house one day, but you only believe you can get just a tiny shack, it's not going to help you out to keep that belief. You're going to have to think bigger. You're going to have to really put your eye on the prize, okay? So once you get past some of that early stuff, in the journey, then there's the journey towards becoming yourself that you want to be, or going after whatever you want to go after. You really have to shift your mindset about the things that you want, and you have to start thinking about how you can get them. And this is when you're going to want to start doing some internal work, really working through some of the, internal hiccups that you have. So speaking on my journey, hop it back to me for a second. Well, I knew for a while I wanted to move to California, go after my dreams and things like that. And it was all the time I was thinking about what my next step is. And I remember feeling like I was just going through a decrepit forest. And when I finally got to California, I realized. So throughout my journey, I was able to meet my little goals. I would have little goals there was apartment hunting goals, and visiting different places in California, and networking goals, and savings goals. And it was nice. I knew that I was on a journey, but meeting those little goals, it was so nice. It was a really nice pick-me-up while I was still on my journey. So it's important while you are in your journey to whatever you might want, whether that's a new you, new life, whatever. Enjoy the little moments and the goals that you do reach, because they're like little pops of sunshine, on your journey. So it's nice to do. So one really big thing that you hear all the time is that is when you grow, sometimes you might outgrow people, especially people that don't understand what you're trying to do, or they get jealous, and they believe that you should still stay the same person that you once were. I feel like That is a broken record on YouTube sometimes, especially with the girls, but it's so true. Like, I hate how true it is, but it's so true. Like, I'm telling you, some of these cliches just be so true. So, you have to not feel guilt or shame. Like, especially if you're just a good person, you're doing good stuff, you just want to, like, do better or be better. Where's the shame in that? That's crazy. So becoming more you does not require anyone's approval, okay? No one's approval is needed. None. None. Yeah. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, that's the point. No one's approval is needed for you to be more you, or to grow and to become whatever you want, or go after whatever you want. You don't need anyone's approval. If anything, you have to approve of yourself. That's what you need. So, I don't know if you guys always hear about that. If my younger me could see me, or me as a child could see me now, like, what would they think? But sometimes I think about that every now and then. So I think that can be a good, like, thought to have, to kind of just check where you're at in life, to say, would my younger me or would my childhood me be happy with what they're seeing right now? And if not, how can you kind of go down that path that would make you the happiest? Because once again, YOLO, you only get one life. So yeah. So in conclusion, I am becoming more me, and despite what anyone feels or says or whatever, I'm happy about that. I am happy about that. So I hope that you can be more you. I hope that you can be more you.